SOAR, or Shirtless on a Rooftop, by JesterWorks, or ELD, is a very much still in the work of life tabletop RPG that seeks to emulate the feel of various beat-em-up games and crime drama, while also being more than just that. You know a game is good when you flip to page 6 of it and saw a near-perfect rendition of a bowl of pho. I'm goddamn hungry for one if you can't tell. That said, everything I will talk about, the games, the rules, the mechanics, and so on, will probably be changed in the future, so keep that in mind as you watch this review. Anyway, let's get started. But first, what exactly is Slash of Life? In SOAR, you play as a flawed individual in a grimy city you grew up in, whether as a former gangster, a failed investigator, someone tied to his oath, or goddamn VTuber, each with a playbook to display your unique situations, inner turmoils that you have to deal with, and additional stats and skills to use with. You probably know about the slice of life genre, but for some, their normal is a little different. They know a side of the city others do not, yet they remain here anyway, fostering a community with friends and allies because it's often the only way to not just survive, but truly live. This is the Slash of Life part of the game, a more raw version of Slice of Life, about finding your place in the world, and finding who you truly are. But sometimes, someone comes knocking in, thinking they own the place more than the people living in it. For people like you, standing by doing nothing is not something you can do, and if there's gonna be a brawl on the rooftop, so be it. This is the amply named Brawl part of the game, where it turns into grid-based tactical combat where you beat the crap out of people with pipe or this bicycle I just found off the floor. That pretty much summarized the game, but let's get a little deeper. To play SOAR, you will want a couple d10 and 6. In Slash of Life, whenever you have to resolve an action, roll a d10 first, pass a dv depending on how tough the action is, to determine whether you succeed at the action at all. Failure here will get you a consequence, a staple of narrative dice mechanic really, and one of your 4 stats can be added to improve your roll. For the second part of a dice roll to show how great your success is, roll d6, you get a number of it equal to your relevant skills, of which all stats have 2 of, you keep the highest dice, and if you get 2 6 and more, that's gonna be critical. A good roll here can clear through a situation faster, represented by a clock. It's interesting how the system works compared to other narrative systems. A character can be clever enough to pass a test, but there's a difference between knowing a good noodle place for a neutral ground, and knowing every single racing horse name, and this affects how good your success is instead. Other than your stats and skills, there's one more thing you can use with your roll, your turmoil. Every playbook has a turmoil, a side they have to pick eventually even if they are in the limbo right now. Both starts at 0 and if one rises, one shall fall. Get out of here, Optimus. You may spend stress, a resource similar to MP or stamina in another setting, to use turmoil in rolls as both stat and skill as long as it fits the key actions, but it will increase the value of said turmoil. You may also spend stress to enhance your narrative success. That's another use case for it. Increase the value of a turmoil enough, you will go overboard, immediately exit the scene doing something dramatic or bold and dangerous. After that, this reset back to 0, but a +1 is added to the specific value permanently. Repeat this enough that it reached +4, you permanently stay at +4 and lose the other value permanently. In a way, this completes your story arc. You have made a choice of where you stand in the world. Anyway, that covers the Slash of Life section of SOAR. Now it's the time to non-lethally solve problems with non-lethal amounts of blunt force trauma. Much like Slash of Life narrative section, you roll d10 and d6 for brawling, but in a different way. d10 is roll with usually terrain modifier that add or subtract from the result, and d6 is rolled depending on the damage value of your weapons, or fists. The Game Master is recommended to completely litter the map with everything you can find in a concrete jungle, because much like the game that inspired it, the players can introduce their opponent to the environment, kick people down a flight of a stair, trip them over a bike rack, and the good old chucking trash bin at people, all of which have actual effect that can be triggered as simple as knocking enemies over them or throw them at people yourself. What determines your stats in Brawl are stances, split into 4, unarmed, light weapon, heavy, and gun, each with additional unique styles to master. Unarmed is about building up a resource called fever and use it to throw out power move. Light is about being flexible by earning endurance token which can be used in place of stress. Heavy is all about swinging the big stick, but this makes them slow, consuming their movement for momentum. And of course, gun is about gun. It's really self-explanatory on what that does. And just to make the game even more like its inspiration, there's a mechanic where if you are fighting the all-important named character, you can enter a new phase at the end of each round called Clash Phase, which lets you pick an action specifically against the character such as provoke, call out, take time to breathe, and plea to stand down. Which only works if you have beaten the crap out of them enough, which brings back to the point that you don't just brawl to oppose the powerful, you also brawl to convince them that it's not worth it, or to make them realize that they are in the wrong. In a way, in this normal seldomly known to others, brawling itself is a form of communicator, not just to mark territory, but also to express yourself, even if you are flawed, especially if you are flawed, because you are flawed in a way only you can be, so go on, be loved or hated, doesn't matter, just don't be boring. And that's basically Shirtless on a Rooftop, a game about fostering community and finding yourself by busting someone's balls. Here's to you, Eld. Only several months late. You will also want to check out the city guide for things like enemy stat, and GM guide on how to build the vibe and city for your campaign. That's gonna be helpful. Anyway, you can get it now on itch.io. That's all for now, and I will see you all next time. Hello there, if you like this video, please subscribe and click that notification bell button. If you want to see the videos early as well as further support my channel, you can join in my Patreon page, or buy me some coffee, links in the description. Anyway, have a nice day.